Hello and welcome back to coverage here at Grand Prix Atlanta. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe. I'm in the booth with Paulo Vitor-Damarosa. We've got Quinn Kiefer facing off against Josh Bell here. This is Burn versus Dredge. So two kind of think for yourself type decks here.
Yeah, there's two ships in the night. Hoping
That's right.
Yeah.
Hoping one rams into the other a little harder. We were talking about Quinn leading into the segment here. Paulo, you said that Quinn is testing with us. Who did you mean?
Well, us is a very big testing team.
Uh-huh.
It's the Chain of Fireball team. So it's myself, Luis Vargas, Mark Yuza, Mike Sigrist, Joshua Layden, and Ben Stark.
Mm-hmm.
And then there is also the other team, the Ultra Pro team. That is Sam Party, Matt Nass, Andrew Backstrom, Thomas Hendricks, two other people. I'll remember.
Yeah, that's okay. But my point is that is a group of, there's numerous Hall of Famers that you just mentioned, full-time professional Magic players, and Quinn, he's right in there with them.
Yeah,
it's really impressive, wow, and I can see why. He's kind of going off here. Already milled a Creeping Chill with that Shriekhorn, apparently, and also hit two Narcomoebas off of his first activation. So things looking pretty good here for Kiefer. This is how you do it.
Yeah, it definitely is.
And even that's after Josh had the ultimate for that deck, the turn one Goblin Guide. Tell you what, if he keeps hitting like this, he's going to be a pro for a really long time. This looks nice.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, that is what the deck does, right?
It's true.
If you're not being disrupted in any way, assuming your hand is okay, then you're going to do it very consistently, I think. And so will the burn deck, right? It will just burn you down from 20 every time if you're not doing anything. It gets more complicated when someone is doing something. So what if they stop two of your spells? Now you have to burn it from 26, effectively. Well, that's much harder.
Right.
And what if they disrupt one Dredge card? Then, well, now it takes 3 more turns to do it all. But if you're just both goldfishing, they'll both be pretty effective at it. But Quinn, a little bit more effective, it seems, and also being on the play. He's in a pretty good spot here.
So he's hit another Narcomoeba, by the way, off of this Stinkweed Imp Dredge, as well as a Prized Amalgam back on the battlefield, too. A second Goblin Guy joins the team. Trigger, going to hit some lands. And then we're going to see a double block or maybe even a triple block. Just going to go for the double.
Yeah, there's no reason not to triple here, I think.
Yeah, I think you just triple there, but
you're
looks like you got away with it.
You're not terribly upset if your opponent is lightning bolts the Narcomoeba here.
True.
And it effectively means you jump block the Goblin Guy, which you're fine doing.
So Quinn's going to take a couple of damage off of the unblocked Goblin Guide, putting him down to 18. But he still has that Shriekhorn to activate as well. Rift Bolt is going to be the follow-up play for Bell going on suspend. And here's Shriekhorn on end step. Let's see what he hits. Maybe another Creeping Chill. Ooh, Life from the Loam.
That's the dream.
That's pretty good.
Not the Life from the Loam. The,
right.
the Creeping Chill.
Yeah. Life from the Loam's pretty good. But
it's not the dream.
Perhaps not the dream. So he's going to dredge Life from the Loam for 3.
Yeah, here I think, Quinn, one thing that you can do if you're playing this, there's not a Creeping Chill.
There's one, so that's 2.
If you're playing this Dredge deck, is you should utilize the Shriekhorn on your upkeep. Because then if you mill the Stinkweed Imp, which is the better Dredger, you can dredge it immediately. And right now he had to settle for the Life from the Loam, which is the worst Dredge. But if one of his top 2 cards is Stinkweed Imp, then he doesn't have to do that.
I see.
So it doesn't cost you anything, really. But I think it just wins the game now. Those Goblin Guide cards really doing a lot of work with this Conflagrate. Yeah, he's just going to win the game now.
Yeah.
Advantage bar. Yes, I did it.
Oh, wow. That advantage bar jumped over right at the last second in Quinn Kiefer's direction. And, boy, that was a beating in that first game. 5-2 for both Josh and Quinn, which means that a loss would eliminate them from the competition, and they'd have to come back tomorrow and play in a PTQ or do some side events or something like that. So they're both fighting for their tournament life here. Josh, really not a lot to say. Not a very interactive deck in his hand. It's in burn. And Quinn just really had some nice stuff going on there. He got two creeping chills plus the 3 Narcomoebas and the amalgam as well. Just really kind of got it going early and didn't stop from that point.
Yeah, he actually finished the game at 21 against burn. So it's not what you're looking for when you're playing burn.
Right. I mean, you mentioned it at the beginning, though, but, I mean, those creeping chills was a 12-point life swing in Quinn's direction. It's insane.
Yeah, in a game that is just a race.
Right.
I do have to say that it's very mean to non-English speakers to have a card called Creeping Chill right after a card called Crippling Chill.
Yeah.
And people keep making fun of me for it. Yeah. I don't like it.
No, it's okay. I'll protect you, Paulo.
Thank you.
If they make fun of you, I'll defend you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So
if we say it fast enough, it's indistinguishable.
Yeah, Crippling Chill.
Just Crippling Chill.
Yeah. Crippling Chill. Yeah.
Crippling Chill. You don't know what I said.
And yeah, so I think this should get, again, a little bit better for Joshua.
Okay.
He gets access to Resting Peace. Skullcrack is good against the chills as well. He only has 2 copies of that in the main. And we do see some burn decks playing a Tarkus command, and then that also acts as a way to stop the Crippling Chill, but Joshua doesn't actually have that. He doesn't have any green in his deck. It's straight Boros. And it would be interesting to see if Quinn wants to bring in extremely reactive cards like Nature's Claim. Because when you're playing those Dredge decks, you can't dilute your deck too much.
Right.
Right? You need Dredgers, you need cards that put the Dredgers in the graveyard, and then you need cards that reward you for dredging. Right? And if you take out any of those elements, then your deck just doesn't work. So all your cards become bad if all those 3 elements aren't present. And so you can never really sideboard too much. Right? You can't just sideboard in 10 cards and call it a day, because then your remaining 50 just won't work.
It's just so psychologically damaging if you don't bring in the answers and they just go turn to Rest in Peace and you just go, okay, well.
Yeah, I mean,
I understand that that's what you signed up for, but it can just be so difficult if you have a card like Nature's Claim or whatever it is that you happen to have that you're just I just got to bring this in. Your brain tells you that.
Yeah, and you can, to an extent, you can afford those cards because you have cards like Cathartic Reunion and Faithless Looting, so you will be able to get rid of the bad cards. And at one point in the game, when you start dredging, it doesn't really matter what you have, right? Any card that isn't relevant in the graveyard is identical because you're not going to draw a card for the rest of the game anyway. So you have room for some of those cards. You probably want some of them, but you can't have all of them.
Right.
Otherwise your deck doesn't work.
Right, then you just make it so you can't win anyway.
And that is the one thing that I think stops dredging from being the best deck in every format. Dredge is an incredible Game 1 deck in every format that it's playable.
Yep.
Right? In Legacy, Vintage, Modern, it's an incredible Game 1 deck. But it just gets worse against everyone post-board, and that's why it doesn't dominate. If someone were to come up with a fantastic plan, and this is Dredge Transformational Cyborg plan, and it leaves my deck functional in the face of hate, then the deck would just be amazing. And so far, no one's ever been able to do it, either because all the plans use the graveyard in some way, or I have Gurma Gangler and Tarmogoyf. Well, that still gets hit by the hate. Or because the plan just doesn't function with the rest of your deck. You can't board into, a secondary combo, and then start drawing Narcomoebas and Stinkwind Imps, and all those cards are bad if they're not specifically dredging. Well, there's Nature's Claim.
Yeah, he definitely brought that in.
Yeah, it does deal with the Idol of the Great Revel, which, is a nice card in this matchup. Sometimes. If you're in the play, if you're in the draw, I don't think it's even very good, but if you're in the play, it can deal a lot of damage. It is a race, though. It is much worse now that it has Creeping Chill.
Josh has yet to cast a spell this turn after playing the turn 1 Goblin Guide. He's just sitting here watching Quinn dump a bunch of dredgers into his graveyard here with Cathartic Reunion and start dredging back a bunch of life from the Loams.
Yeah, again, not the ideal dredger, 3 copies of life from the Loam, but...
Yeah, he finally hit a Stinkweed Imp there, but it was a little late.
Yeah, he's not under a lot of pressure, but he's also not under no pressure. I assume his opponent is going to cast something at the end of the turn. Some sort of burn spell or another, because that's all that is in the deck.
That's right. Boros Charm being the highest damage he can do here with one card.
Yeah, that might be what we're going to see. If there is a skull crack, it's unclear whether that will even be played at this point. Or he's just trying to... Oh, so he could have played the Eidolon and he chose not to.
He chose not to. I find that interesting.
So
he's going to go for 2 cards here, though. Pair of Lightning Bolts.
Yeah, so I think he must have skull crack.
That's
the only
what
reason,
I would assume.
Yeah, he doesn't want to risk, a lot of Creeping Chills being put in the graveyard.
Which, by the way, didn't happen. Quinn working through a pretty good chunk of his library there.
Yeah, it is pretty annoying when you save the skull crack and you don't do anything, and then they don't hit the Crippling Chills, and now just wait as Quinn hits 2 of them.
You know he is now.
Yeah.
The Eidolon of the Great Revel hits the battlefield.
Yeah, and
before being passed back to Quinn, but now he's going to hit 3 Crippling Chills guaranteed.
It is a good card, but it's also dangerous. Because the Dredge deck can deal a lot of damage. He has, Conflagrate for a lot, for example, is one of the things that he can do. And if he hits some Crippling Chills and Joshua starts playing spells and taking damage, he might just die. Like, the deck got a lot more reach. Oh,
there's one.
Yeah. I mean, we're pretty deep in the deck at this point still.
Indeed. Even 1 has a big effect, though, right? I mean, right now the damage on Josh doesn't seem super relevant since Quinn has yet to put actually any creatures on the battlefield, but gaining 3, buys him quite a bit of time to do so. It's effectively taking a card out of Josh's hand.
Yeah, and, the 3 damage is not irrelevant.
Right. It could absolutely matter if he can get those blood gas rolling. By the way, didn't even think about that. It gets the blood gas rolling, quicker than it normally would, like this turn type thing.
Yeah, if there was another chill mill right there, then the blood gas would attack.
Yeah.
Right, that is why it speeds your clock considerably, not just, sometimes by more than 1 turn.
Yeah, that is just... Chat has no idea what they're talking about. They keep thinking we're saying Crippling Chill when clearly we're saying Creeping Chill.
Yeah, I think we're just saying Crippling Chill.
Yeah.
And not Crippling Chill.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
I don't know what their problem is. Uh-oh, Quinn's doing math. That cannot be good for Josh, who's just tapped out right now. He starts tapping on the table, and it's like, wait, I'm not dead, am I? Doesn't seem so, but... A lot of options here, a lot of cards in hand now for Quinn.
So Quinn does not have a Conflagrate in the graveyard.
No.
Which is, if he did, then he'd just win the game on the spot, but he can still play Conflagrate for 0 and then Conflagrate the creatures. He will take 2 damage for that, though.
From the Eidolon?
Yeah. But, I mean, he'll be at 7. That's pretty healthy. You could still die, but...
Yeah.
If he stay...
Okay, well, he's at 7 now.
So he'll be at 5.
Yeah.
All right, that's more dangerous, but, I mean, you do what you got to do.
Yeah, 5 is any 2 burn
and
spells, and 7 is some 2 burn spells, but not every.
Well, 7 is 2 burn spells and a land.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, good point.
Whereas 5 is just 2 burn spells.
Okay, so we're going to see Conflagrate here to wipe the board.
But it's not going to deal enough damage to put... Is it going to deal 3 to Joshua?
I don't think it was 2, 4.
Yeah, he didn't have 7 cards.
Yeah. I think he had 5 or 6.
So now...
So the blood gas have to stay home.
Yeah, now that's a pretty bad spot for Quinn.
Risky biz.
Yeah, nice interaction here. The prize amalgam that came back originally will trigger the other prize amalgam, and that will come back at the end of Joshua's turn. Yeah, so there's 10 damage, and another Conflagrate or another Crippling Chill will win the game. And Quinn has a Fateless looting, so he can dredge quite a bit trying to find that Crippling Chill. Though Joshua can't always just kill one of the prize amalgams and buy himself a turn.
Here's Stinkweed Imp. There's a Narc Amoeba and a Bloodghast, but again, Josh still at 13, so...
Oh, the Conflagrate won't actually do it.
Ugh.
Well, he gets to Dredge Life Render Loan back. Well, he would have. Yeah, no, that wouldn't really. It is better to try to hit Creep Control, I think. He can still play Fateless Looting. But yeah, I don't think this play from Quinn can win here because there's no way to do damage now, right? Quinn is not going to dredge anymore, so he's going to deal 10, and he cannot. Does he have enough? Oh, how many cards does he have left?
In his hand?
Yeah, does he have 3?
2 or 3?
Well, the Bloodghast came back. So if he has 3, then he wins.
He does have exactly 3.
Okay.
And that's going to put Josh down to 10. And Josh just has to extend the hand. Quinn Kiefer advances to day 2. Scrapes right in there with 2 losses, but it's good enough. And we'll see how he does tomorrow with his Dredge deck. If he can put together a run, we may see him in the top 8.
Yeah, no, it's pretty impressive because, his draw game 1 was great. And then he just did what his deck was supposed to do. His draw game 2, not so great.
Not so great.
And he still won. All he did was mill 1 Crippling Chill over the course of like 30 cards, which you'd expect to mill at least 1. So a pretty impressive showing for a Dredge here. And if it wasn't for that new card, the Crippling Chill, he would have lost the game. So that's already showing why the card kind of revitalized his archetype.
Well, we were going to move over here to game 2 between Brian Browndoin and Luis Goburn, but perhaps we're lucky. Brian was just finishing comboing off with Ironworks, so we didn't have to watch it. But it does mean we get a game 3 between these 2 players, so something to look forward to there. And Luis looks like he's on Titan Breach.
Yeah, Luis is one of
super often.
Yeah, he's one of those players that when it comes to Modern, they play the same deck every time. He is a Portuguese player. I met him in one of the World Magic Cups. I think it was 3 years ago, and that was already what he was playing. And he has never wavered since.
Okay.
He's probably changed like 2 or 3 cards in the course of those 3 years, but that is the deck that he plays all the time. And it's not even Scape Shift. It's just like Through the Breach, Titan, Shimmering Spirit Guy, try to kill you or effectively kill you on turn 3.
But it does still use Valakut and that type of thing.
Oh yeah,
to get you dead.
Yeah. He gets
just no Scape Shift.
Yeah, it's Through the Breach. I mean, it might have Scape Shift, but I don't think the Scape Shift is the main game plan.
Yeah, let's take a look. I wish we have a list here somewhere. Here it is. What do we got? I don't see any Scape Shifts there.
Yeah, no Scape Shift.
Tribe Elder, Spirit Guide, a Woodfall Primus. Nice.
Okay.
3 main deck Anger of the Gods.
Yeah, 4 Summoners packed.
Wow. And then he's got Search Tomorrow and Farseek to go grab lands. And then we mentioned Through the Breach as well. That's the whole deck. A couple of Relic of Progenitus in the main as well.
So BBD was comboing off game 2. And the match is not over. So that means Luis Goburn won game 1, which is incredibly hard for him to do, I think, in this matchup, because he's just slower than KCI, I think. And neither player has any disruption, but it's like when Luis Goburn combos, he doesn't win. He wins next turn. He gets a Titan in play, a Titan attacks, but that is very often not enough to win versus an opponent who hasn't dealt themselves any damage, especially if you've been using Shimmering Spirit Guides and cards like that to accelerate, because it means you're going to take longer to reach that critical mass of lands.
Right, of course.
Post Cyber has a much better shot. He has 2 Abrades, 2 Ancient Grudges, 3 Damping Spheres, 1 Reclamation Sage, so he has a lot post board, which is why I'm a bit surprised he won game 1 and lost game 2.
Yeah, he's kind of doing it backwards, but he'll take it. Game 3 incoming between our 2 players. And much as I mentioned before with the match between Josh and Quinn, both of these players are also on 5-2 for their record. And that means that they're playing for their slot in day 2. Lose, you're done.
Yeah. Yeah, I still think in this spot we have to give the edge to Brian Brown doing here. I think even with this incredible amount of sideboard coming from Gobern's deck, he is still a dog, but not by a lot. Like, he can still just execute his game plan, and if he has one piece of disruption and can still manage to be fast, then he's just going to win. Because I don't think BBD has much in his on-sideboard for Valakut Titan. Yeah, players are...
It's like, okay, we are underway here. So off we go.
Nice forest.
Luis is going to kick things off with a forest. And a chromatic sphere there for Brian Brown Dewin. And there's a Farseek.
Yeah, and this is at the beginning of this matchup, both players are just going to do their own thing. And then eventually, Luis will have to keep mana up to stop BBD from doing something. But sometimes you just fizzle, right? Sometimes the Ironworks deck just doesn't draw Ironworks, or the Titan deck doesn't draw Titan.
Mm-hmm.
And then the deck looks very silly, both of them.
Yeah, Luis has tried his best to reduce that possibility by running the 4 copies of Summoner's Pact, as well as 4 copies of Primeval Titan, so he effectively has 8 Titans in his deck.
Yeah, and he can through the breach Woodfall Primus if it comes to that.
Ancient Stirrings finds Quark Crown Ironworks there for Brian Brown Dewin, so he has his key combo piece, and a Mind Stone for mana acceleration means that he could cast it as early as next turn if he wanted. Unclear if that's what he wants to do, but he's got to feel good that he has that at least available to him.
Yeah.
Luis in the tank.
He doesn't seem to be under a lot of pressure, but we know that Luis can just play a Titan here, I believe. Like, he has 2 Shimi Spirit Guides and Through the Breach and Primeval Titan. But then that means he doesn't have any mana up for this Ancient Grudge. So that's probably what he's considering. Do I grudge here, or do I just try to go for it?
Because the question then becomes, can Brian... Okay, he knows he has the Ironworks, but can he actually go off if he gets to cast it this turn? And Luis is going to say, you know what, I'm just going to take a turn off here. Ancient Grudge away the Mind Stone to virtually guarantee that you can't cast your combo piece this turn.
Yeah, and then you keep the Ancient Grudge mana up. So, like, now he only needs 1 extra land to be able to Titan and keep Grudge up because it's in the graveyard. So I think I like that play here.
Scrappy T. Yeah, just pointed at anything.
Well, that is a bit weird to me. If he is going to Through the Breach a Titan, I believe he could use a Valakut trigger to kill the Scrap Trawler and still keep the Ancient Grudge in his graveyard.
Brian's going to get back, not the Mind Stone, he got back a Chromatic Sphere. You see a little sideboard hate there from Luis. We already saw him use an Ancient Grudge.
Oh, he only had 1 Shimi Spirit Guide. Okay, so he couldn't keep them in. I thought I had seen 2, but 1 was an Ancient Grudge.
And yes, he is doing a little shortcuts here with the shuffling, and that's just fine by me. Just because there's nothing that could change in between, and if he's going to be shuffling in just a second anyway, I guess an opponent that can't interact, he may as well just do that now. First card he got was Valakut. He currently has 3 mountains on the battlefield and a basic forest.
Yeah, so if he wants to trigger the Valakut, he has to get a red source here. And then get 2 more, a mountain, and then get 2 more mountains with attacks. Or he could just go for a lot of Valakuts and then hope that his next Primeval Titan finishes the job. Yeah, do have to pay for that, unfortunately.
BBD reminding him. Of course, this is part of the raw power. of this particular build is Through the Breach gives the Primeval Titan haste, so you effectively get 2 triggers in that same turn.
Yeah, and that sets up a kill next turn with another Primeval Titan because he can get 2 mountains, and that would be 18 damage. And he does have that in hand, so BBD has to win now. Which Dezek can do, but he needs a 0-mana artifact for that. Like either a Darksteel Citadel or a Mox or an Engineer Explosives. He has Explosives, but I don't think he has land in hand.
Oh, man. Is he that close?
I mean, he would still have to fight for it, right?
Sure.
He would have to, like, play some stars, but as it is, he has no shot if he doesn't have either of those pieces. And it looks like he has the 0-mana artifact, has an Explosives, but doesn't have land.
So he's going to play the Sphere, sacrifice it right away, just looking to hit that land drop. He's going to play Ancient Stirrings off of the mana.
Yeah, I don't know that there is something he can hit.
Yeah, he's just hoping, I think, that Luis doesn't have another copy of Primeval Titan floating around. But
yeah, that's what he has to do, right?
He has to just play that way. But as we know, I mean, his deck is stacked with Primeval Titans. This is a good spot as well to highlight cards like Summoner's Pact.
Yeah, we've seen that already.
It's just lethal.
Yeah, we've seen it already out of Amulet Bloom, also getting Primeval Titan.
Right.
And Hornet Queen.
Yeah. But he already has the Primeval Titan ready to go in his hand. And, of course, Cassian getting the first one into play leads the way for the second thanks to the lands that you get from it. And here we go, Trigger with 3 copies of Valakut out. And that's going to do it. 369. 369. It's 18 damage. Brian Brown doing at 14 loses the match to Luis Goberrin, and he's going to advance to day 2 and leave current number 14 in the world behind. So BBD is going to have to find something else to do tomorrow because he's not coming back to play Modern.
Yeah, he's probably going to be testing for the PT.
Yeah, probably so.
Guess.
Yeah, you know, I know that a lot of the pros that were coming into town a little early to start testing were considering whether to come play in the event. It's obviously tempting to do so, being so close, but also very valuable testing time. You know, the deck lists are due a little earlier than they have been traditionally, and every hour counts towards trying to figure out what you want to play. So
yeah, I know
wouldn't
that.
be surprised if you took tomorrow to start testing again.
I know that some people on my team didn't play the GP. Like about half of them actually.
Yeah, is that right?
Yeah. Though again, there are people like Siggy who didn't play the GP and was just here chilling. So.
All right, well, let's jump in on our other table here. We have Daniel Braswell playing against Pyotr Glogowski. Also on
Canister,
Ironworks combo. And
as you might know him.
That is Canister, and Canister just took that Ironworks combo to day 2 himself. That was 2-0 victory. We came in just in the nick of time for that. So bang, bang, bang. They're falling quick in the feature match area. And interesting to see one of the Clark Cullen Ironworks combo fall and one of them go ahead and get through on the 5-2 record there.
Yeah, we saw Ironworks earlier in the day too. It's been a more popular deck than I expected. I guess maybe it's popular among the good people that would tend to do well.
Yeah.
It is not an easy deck to play. It's very complicated.
No, it is.
So usually you don't just pick up you're not like, well, I don't know what to play. I guess I'll play KCI.
Yeah.
Like the great majority of the people that are playing KCI do know how to play KCI. So that kind of inflates his numbers, but
okay, so we are going to call it a day here from Atlanta, but we're going to be back tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Eastern time. And Rashad says it's daylight saving.
It is?
That's what he said.
It's good to know. I
I
had no
believe
idea.
him. I didn't know that either.
In which direction?
Back.
Oh, okay, so we gain an hour.
Oh, yeah, buddy.
Nice.
What do you want to do with our extra hour?
Probably sleep.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. But we'll be back tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern time, and we're going to run all the way up to the top 8 and hand out a trophy and $10,000. We certainly hope you'll join us. Thanks so much. We'll see you in the morning.